Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Cookie Jar Golf Podcast. As always, guys, we are bringing you little daily micro pods, and today we have bucket hat savant Barclay Brown. After an outstanding opening 68, 4 under, in his first professional tournament, a major at the home of golf, to pull out that performance was amazing. And we were fortunate enough to be allowed to spend 20 minutes to sit down with him and pick his brains about how he went today. And we were super chuffed to be able to get an amateur that's done so well and be able to speak to him. So hopefully you will enjoy the pod.
Watch this. No way!
Barclay, how you doing?
Hi guys, how are you?
Congratulations, young man. Well played.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
How you feeling?
Good. Yeah, just been sat down, my feet up, just watching the Open for the last few hours. Just sat with my mates and my family.
You've just had a couple of hours after finishing it. What's it feel? Is it sinking in now?
I think so, a little bit. Yeah, man. It seems like the wind picked up a bit, and I'm clinging on to the leaderboard a bit better than I thought I was going to. So it's nice.
Tell you what, we followed you around for a little bit, and we came off 18. And as we walked around the corner of the stand, I just see this bloke in absolute tears. And I was thinking, that's a bit weird. He must be absolutely battered. I don't know who it is. And then this other guy had his arm around this bloke and said, save the tears. You tear up in front of him. And I thought, what the? I said to Sam, that's something to do with Barclay. We need to follow this bloke. But I think we've been informed. Was it your brother?
I think it was. I've still not seen any. I didn't. To this point in the 21 years, I wasn't sure that if he cared about me at all, but apparently he does.
Mate, judging by the way his behaviour on golf plays, I think he had a bit of skin in the game.
Who was it that had his arm around him?
Yeah, it might have been my caddy.
Really?
But I don't know. As I say, I wasn't there. All I've had is punches and abuse hurled at me. I've not actually seen any of the nice side yet, but apparently it is there somewhere.
No, it was really good to see. They snuck him in through an entrance to get you, and it was a big old queue. And I imagine the media demands on you were quite high afterwards. So we really appreciate your time and coming on and speaking to us.
Yeah, no, of course. Thanks for having me.
So I guess, loads to dig into. I'm conscious of your time, but I'm pretty curious to get your sort of just take on the day. So I'm pretty sure in thinking this is your first professional event. You've not played any non-amateur stuff, right? Before everything's been sort of, college, Walker Cup. You played high-level golf, but this is the first professional event, right?
Yeah. That's right.
How's it feeling first tee? Because I was there. I've got it on Insta. I think I was tagging you about bucket hats or something at about 10 to 7 this morning. So how are you feeling on that first tee? You hit a pretty decent iron shot.
Felt absolutely terrible. I was like really, really horrible, regardless of the fact that the fairway was 140 yards wide or whatever it is. It was just not nice at all. But yeah, fortunately managed to back foot a 4-iron up there somewhere and then just ran with that and then kind of started to get into it a little bit from that point.
I guess it frees up, doesn't it, after a few holes, right? You sort of you've almost got to just scrape through the first few and then you sort of feel like, oh, I can breathe. When's the first moment where you sort of, is it a tee box or a green where you're like, okay, because you look chilled. Like I saw you putt out on 7 and you were sort of, there was some other stuff going on with 11. You were playing into 11 and there was guys putting out on 7 and you looked super chilled. You were like, yeah, no, you go, it's fine. I was like, this guy's a smooth criminal. When did you sort of really relax into the round?
Yeah, I think at that point I was pretty happy. I had just bogeyed the hole before, so I was trying to not let any more slip on the 11th there. But after a couple of holes, I kind of got into it. I didn't have that long of a birdie putt on the first or the second or the third. I gave myself kind of tap-in pars. So I made it relatively easy for myself to kind of settle in. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, some of those early holes are the scoring holes, really, of the front nine, which I think is probably where you need to get some birdies. So, hopefully be able to settle into it.
You did some
for the
birdies
next
the
few
hard
days.
way. I mean, birdie in the road hole is not exactly child's play. I mean, there was some good birdies in
one was
there.
fun.
It's elite level birdie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, a few more people had got there by that point. There wasn't too many there at 6:45 this morning. But yeah, no, it was nice. That grandstand was getting a little more full. I hit a nice putt, and obviously, lucky enough for it to drop in.
When you were preparing for this, obviously you've been here for a few days and the practice rounds and stuff. Did your practice rounds were you getting the feeling like, yeah, I'm going to go low? I feel like it's on fire. Were you getting that from
knowing who we've
rounds?
had lunch with today, who was obviously a mutual friend of Barclay, so I'm pretty sure you know the answer to this, Tom.
But yeah, did you feel like it was?
We've had lunch with Simon today.
Who have you had lunch with today?
We had lunch at St Andrews Golf Club with Simon. So we were out looking over 18, and obviously put us in touch and stuff. And he said, "Oh yeah." I said, "I'll be honest. I didn't see a 68 in his future on, was it Monday or Tuesday?" He said,
I was
seeing all parts of the links.
I was going to say Simon probably told you what I will say, which is that the play in the practice rounds wasn't stellar, but yeah, I mean I have plenty of experience trying to get the ball around the course when I've not quite got it. So yeah, fortunately I managed to. Obviously it's some bad shots, but I missed in the right places and didn't hit too many of them. So I was able to get it around.
Well, that's good stuff. We've got a few other things we want to talk to you about, but last kind of key question on your golf today. Did you enjoy it? Was it good fun? Did you kind of feel this is what I want to do?
It was brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed walking down the first after the tee shot was good, but really the first few holes other than that were not particularly enjoyable. And then after that point, yeah, it was loads of fun. I think it was not. I mean, I'm not to say that it wouldn't have been somewhere if I wasn't playing quite as well, but I think people were getting into it, seeing my name on the scoreboard, so I was getting quite a lot of kind of cheers and support from people in the crowd. So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, how's the course playing? Take us there, because you mentioned first few holes going out a little bit easier. I think the wind's kind of against on the outward nine, right? And obviously the wind's picked up a bit this afternoon. You can see, they're struggling a little bit into the wind. But does it kind of hold the ball up a little bit easier? Is it playing maybe a touch easier when it's against? Because it's so damn fast, the ground, that you almost need a bit of help, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think it is, like you said, it's just really the way the wind works. It's normally going to come kind of in off the left on the front nine and down and off the right on the back nine. And with the wind off the right on the back nine and the wall up the right on a few holes there, it just makes it really challenging. You basically need to be aiming out of bounds, or you need to be playing for the left rough, and then it's more difficult to stop it into the green straight downwind. So I think the wind, and also just kind of the way that the course sets up with that wind, it definitely makes it harder coming in.
We're getting some numbers out of the R&A that are giving us firmness of the greens, firmness of the fairways. What's it like? What are the feedback you're getting with the players and stuff? What's it like to play off that turf? Because it looks like you're playing off a Weetabix.
Yeah, I mean the greens are firm, but the fairways are unbelievably firm.
It's a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, the fairways are just rocks. I mean, you can really feel it just walking on them. Just every step you take, you can feel how hard it is. Yeah, I mean, it's like a motorway. But I mean, it's fun. It's a good challenge. It makes you think about every shot, and you've got to be careful if there's bunkers here and there, and if you land it anywhere within 70 yards of them, then you could be finding it. So yeah, it definitely adds a bit more challenge to it.
I'm all right in thinking there's been a bit of tuning up down on the South Coast as well last few weeks. You've been down at George's with England Golf and stuff.
Yeah, the European Team Championships has been down there for the last couple of weeks. So I've been down there playing with England, which has been great. Playing similar there, nice and firm. It wasn't actually very windy at all when we were there, but yes, similar kind of thing, links golf, and just getting to a feel for things.
Good stuff. Well, I think so. One of your local Matt Fitzpatrick, I'm guessing he's been a little bit of maybe a positive influence on you, watching him recently win the US Open, Hallamshire guy, right? So you kind of got quite a bit of common ground there. Have you had much kind of contact with him on the lead up to this week?
He messaged me as soon as I qualified, and you know, he reached out. He said congratulations, and he talked about sorting a practice round out, which fortunately we were able to do on Wednesday morning, and you know, spoke to him and spoke to his caddy about some things as well about the course, and yeah, you know, they've been really helpful, and you know, obviously, like you said, seeing the success he's had as someone that's come from you know, the same place that you do, but you know, makes you want it that little bit more, I think.
Yeah.
So, Barclay, you obviously, well, not obviously to many people, but you're out in Stanford at the moment playing your golf over in America. It's difficult to, obviously, you've played a lot of golf over here, but is it difficult to come back and adjust to this type of golf, having played out in America for a few years?
I think, you know, I've been coming back every summer. So when you are back in the summer, basically all the tournaments that we play over here in the UK on the amateur scene are going to be links golf. So I think I've played enough links golf throughout my my amateur career that I feel fairly comfortable on that kind of course at the moment. But yeah, I maybe a few more years out there, and it might start to feel a little bit weird. But yeah, I think at the moment still feeling pretty comfortable with the experience I've had throughout my junior career playing links golf.
I mean, Stanford have got some reasonable alumni amongst them, haven't they, in terms of golfers that they've produced? There's a few reasonable names in there. You touched on it there, Barclay. So, like your amateur career, and I think, yeah, but we're quite nostalgic with some of this stuff. But you know, amateur golf, there's so much to celebrate there. Does it feel like maybe the amateur scene in America is maybe slightly better nurtured, a bit more supported? And yeah, I'm not sort of teeing you up here to have shots at British golf and amateur golf, but you know, it's almost like it's great to see an amateur in the leaderboard. It's such a rare thing for us, particularly the British amateur. And you know, we look at maybe the States and the amateur scene's so much bigger. I don't know if that's a fair statement. You know, tell me to shut up if it is. But
I think yeah, there's. I mean, obviously, there's, you know, just in general with what you see in the pro game as well. The Americans dominate the rankings. You know, there's more of them for a start. But you know, there's. I think. Yeah, it's definitely something that you know, they've performed great as. I think in the junior scene, I remember thinking that, you know, all the top players that were coming from America are already kind of have their team around them, and it's very individualized from an earlier age. I think in America, whereas over here in England, you know, for better or for worse, it's kind of all about playing for your countries and being part of your national team and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely very different over here. But yeah, you know, I think at the Open we get a good chance to see amateurs from all over the world playing well.
It's really cool. Well, we seem to be telling everyone we talked to, but we really enjoyed going and seeing Aldrich and Sam playing the amateur final up at Lytham a few weeks ago. It's great seeing they're both playing obviously this week and stuff. It's just a great celebration. Just sort of touching on the amateur stuff a little bit more. I think obviously, you playing at Seminole in the Walker Cup last year, that was crazy firm as well, if I remember right. Am I dreaming that? I remember matches finishing sixes and sevens. The whole thing was nuts. Like that thing was like a motorway again, right? Like, how good was that experience?
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. And it was windy, and the fairways and the greens were fast. They got rock solid and brown by the end of the day. So it was chaos playing there. It was a lot of fun. It was really, really difficult, and it was a great challenge. I think it's set up perfectly for the kind of match play that we were playing. It was a lot of fun there. Really, really enjoyed my time.
And speaking of the Walker Cup, obviously the next one is at St Andrews. Are you planning on clinging on to amateur status and making sure you can do a one at St Andrews, or are you thinking of seeing how this week goes and taking it every week as it comes?
No, I'll definitely be amateur for the next World Cup.
Yeah,
I think just a career amateur. I think that's the play, Barclay. I think it's time I think Britain needs another Stuart Hagestad. Personally, I think we need another Bobby Jones in this country. I think we need someone who's just gonna retain their arms to status. But like, it's been a mega long day for you. What time did you have to get up? Anyway, I'm curious because you were off at what 6:50. I'm looking at the system here, something like that. What time were you out of bed? I bet you were like crazy early.
Yeah, we were up at 4 a.m. this morning.
And I bet you didn't get a huge amount of sleep last night, right?
Not really, no, not too bad. Probably got to bed at about 10 o'clock, just after Love Island. Not sure if you guys know.
So funny story.
Game.
So obviously Simon, we were talking about, he talks a lot about sushi and Love Island as being a good omen for good golf and stuff. It's a weird one. Yeah, that you've done well there. 10 p.m. turning in, a few hours sleep.
Love Island in bed. It's, to be fair, recently it's been quite good for putting you to sleep because it's been boring. There's nothing going on.
Hasn't Michael Owen gone into the house or something like that? I don't watch Love Island, but
I think he's going in. Yeah, his daughter's in there at the moment, so there's a bit where they bring the parents in, and I think
they want to sort of spice it up and all that sort of stuff. Well, today's obviously going to get a whole lot more exciting for you when it gets to 8 or 9 p.m. What time are you out tomorrow?
Just before 12 tomorrow.
Okay, so that's not too bad. There's not sort of like you're not going to be hanging around all day like crazy, are you? So
bit time, yeah, a bit more of a line tomorrow.
How do you think the week is going to progress in terms of how the course is going to play? And do you think your philosophy and tactics and strategy is going to change as the greens invariably going to get firmer?
Yeah, I think it'll stay fairly similar because they're really firm already. They can get firmer, but honestly, they probably can't get all that much firmer, really. I think, kind of seeing out there in the practice rounds, they were doing quite a bit of watering. So I think they have the course largely at the kind of firmness that they want to see it at. And, it's definitely going to progress a little bit throughout the week, but I don't think it'll be massively different.
They were heaping water on it yesterday, as we said yesterday. Like, I mean, at one point they was throwing water in the bunkers, which I thought was remarkable behaviour. But it's right on the limit, isn't it? You can tell if they just took it away now and let it go, like the thing would just get away from them rapidly. Like the fairways have gone. Last question, and this is completely irrelevant, but the bucket hats. You are an absolute bucket hat savant. Talk us through what's in the collection for the rest of the week, because you won't be surprised to hear I've turned up with a cookie jar bucket hat just for this meeting.
He's got it.
How's your collection looking for the week ahead, Barclay?
Good stuff. Well, I'm not too sure actually. I had to have my caddy bring some over from Stanford, but they don't quite fit. So
okay, we can rectify that situation.
We've got the Sounder guys as well. So we've got absolute heaps of sick bucket hats. So we'll get some stock down to the range tomorrow. We'll chuck them over to your caddy can have a few, and then we'll just see if any fit.
Yeah, we had a minor setback there, but there's I've got a couple of Stanford ones in my bag, and also a couple of the Walker Cup ones that I was wearing, which may come out. But yeah, I don't know. The camouflage goes quite nicely with anything, really. So that might.
I couldn't see a head.
I couldn't see him.
I couldn't see your forehead. Yeah.
Well disguised in the rough.
There was mixed reviews on Twitter from what I could see. Some people uncertain on whether I was golfing or fishing. But, yeah, I like it.
Have you always been a bucket hat guy?
I didn't used to wear one, and then I went out to America, and it's a little sunnier over there, so I couldn't walk off the course without my forehead or my massive ears being burnt to a crisp. So I needed something that would protect them well. So that's kind of how it happened.
No, it's cool. Well, look, we've been going for a bit. We really appreciate you just jumping on this afternoon when you must be shattered, and you've obviously got a big evening planned with Love Island and all sorts of other stuff. So, but yeah, look, on behalf of, I guess, ourselves, but also our listeners, I know everyone's pulling for you. Like it's a great story. Stay cool out there, and we're going to be pulling for you for the rest of the weekend. Yeah, well played today. It was class.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks very much, guys.
Yeah. Cheers, Barclay.
Take it easy, bro.
Watch this.